Hi, and welcome to Math Plus Everything Journey. Today we are going to learn how to solve a one-step equation. But before we start, there's a few things that we need to know. In order to solve a one-step equation, we have to know that the inverse operation of addition is subtraction and vice versa. The inverse of subtraction is addition. Also, we have to know the inverse of multiplication is division. And we must keep in mind that what is done to one side of the equation must be done to both sides of the equation. So we are going to take a look on an example. So in this example, it says solve for C, right? So the equation is 4 is equal to -3 plus C. Our aim is to get C by itself, right? To isolate C. How do we isolate this C? We had -3 plus C. So right away, we have to take this 3 to the other side. So we're going to do, we're going to use an inverse operation, right? So we know we have a minus. So therefore, when we bring it over the equal sign, we're going to have a plus. So we're going to use the inverse. What's the inverse of negative? It's positive. So we use the inverse of whatever operation or sign. I'm going to have to use some child-friendly words. The inverse of negative is positive, whatever the sign is in front of the digit. So we have 3. So on the other side, we must add 3. So what we do to one side, we do to the other side. And an easy way to remember this is whenever you see a sign, right away you could think it's the opposite sign. You're going to use the opposite sign, okay? I like to do this. There's many different ways that other people do, but I like to do this. So I'm not ready for my C. I'm going to put my C. So I have a +3 and a -3. When you have a negative and a positive in the same number, they cancel out. So that's 0. My equal sign, and I have 4 plus 3. 4 plus 3 is 7. Do I have to do anything else? No. Do I have my C by itself? Yes. So I could say my C is equal to 7. Did I solve for it? Yes. So how can I check if I'm right? Let's check. I have 4 is equal to -3 plus C. What is my C? When we solve, we said C is 7, so that's 7. Okay? So if I have a -3 plus a 7, it is 4. Does 4 equal 4? Yes. So it does check out. Okay? All right. So let's move to a second example. Some papers are a little hard to. Let's move to a second example. So this time we're going to solve for B. So here we go. We have -8 is equal to B plus 9. Again, our aim is to get our variable by itself, or a variable by itself. So what can we do? We have a +9. And in order to get the +9, we have to move the +9. I'm so sorry. In order to get our variable B by itself, we have to move the +9 on the other side. How do we do that? There's a sign in front of it that says positive. So remember, if you see a positive, use the opposite, which is negative, that number. And whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other side, which is 9. Right? So now, +9 plus -9 is 0. Then we are now ready for a B, so we put it down and our equal sign. Now we have a -8 and a -9. So now I look at it, -8 and a -9. For some, this may seem very confusing. So what this is saying is -8 plus -9. That's what this is saying. So you're adding two negative numbers. When you're adding two negative numbers, we keep the sign and we add the digits. 8 plus 9 is 17. Again, when we add two negative number, we keep the sign and add the digits. Okay, so we know that 8, negative 8 and negative 9 is equal to negative 17. So our B is equal to negative 17. Okay. Next. So first we did addition and subtraction. So now we are going to look at multiplication. What's the inverse of multiplication? Division. Remember your coefficient. For those who doesn't remember, a coefficient is a number and a variable. So you have your variable and then you have your number. I'm sorry, your coefficient. Oh Lord, what's wrong with me today? You have your number and you have your coefficient, right? And what does it say again? 3R is saying 3 multiplied by a number, unknown number. 3 multiplied by an unknown number, right? So what's our inverse of multiplication? Division. So we are going to divide. And there's a way you could also do here 3. Whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other side. How many groups of 3 are in 3? 1. How many groups of 3 are in 15? 5. So our answer for this is 5 over 1 is equal to 1 R times R. 1 times R is the same thing as R. So our R value is 5. So let's check. Our R value is 5. Let's check. So we have 15 is equal to 3 times 5 because 5 is our R, right? Remember, 5 is our R. So we have 15 is equal to 3 times 5 is 15. Is 15 equal 15? Yes, that does check out. And the last one, we're doing multiplication still. So therefore, you're saying negative 4u is equal to 8. Negative 4 times some number u is equal to negative 8. What is that number? U. We know that 4u means 4 times some number u, so we have to divide. The inverse or the opposite of multiplication is division. So we are going to divide. Not one side, but both sides. Now this is very tricky. When you're dividing, make sure you carry your sign with you. Negative 4, negative 4, both sides. So negative 4 into negative 4 one time. So that's 1u, cancels out. Negative 4, negative 4 into 8 goes 2 times. The negatives cancels out, right? So it's like as when you divide, when you divide two negative numbers, then the quotient is positive. When you divide two negative number, the quotient is positive, right? So negative 4 divided by negative 8 divided by negative 4 is positive 2. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is positive 1. U. Don't forget your u. So now we can say u is equal to 2. And you could always check, right? Negative 4, our u is 2, is equal to negative 8. 4 times 2, 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, is equal to negative 8. Does negative 8 equal negative 8? Yes, it checks out. So there is a few things to remember when you're doing solving a one-step equation. When you're solving a one-step equation, you got to remember that you have to use the inverse of addition is subtraction, and vice versa. The inverse of subtraction is addition. The inverse of multiplication is division. The inverse of division is multiplication. And what is done to one side of the equation must be done to the other side of the equation. Also, when you divide a number, let me zoom up on this. When you divide a number by a positive number, no, that's not right. When you divide a negative number by a positive number, the quotient is negative. When you divide a positive number by a negative number, the quotient is negative. When you divide two negative numbers, then the quotient is positive. Same rule goes for multiplication. All right? Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And as usual, I thank you.